Well, I'm gonna get some backlash for this rant, it clearly seems like.
Those were up, and they did.
We're smart, and my...
He told me enough!
No, I.
Here's Chuck!
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. Or, no, not movie review. Brand new rant. A controversial rant. And this rant is going to be for a film I hate that everybody likes. Probably the most overrated film from this studio. Former studio. That's going to be 2008's third Dr. Seuss adaptation, Horton Zoo. So that's the plot as well. Like the book, one day, an elephant named Horton hears a cry from help coming from a speck of dust. Even though he can't see anyone in the speck, he decides to help it. As it turns out, the speck of dust is home to the Who's, who live in their city of Whoville, or agrees to help protect the Who's in their home, but this gives him nothing but torment from his neighbors, who refuse to believe that anything could survive on the speck. Still, Horton stands by the motto that person's a person, no matter how small. How is this made? Well, after the critical commercial failure of The Cat in the Hat 2003 film, Dr. Seuss's widow Audrey Gazelle was so unhappy with the film that she decided not to allow any more live-action feature films based on his work. Then in March 2005, Blue Sky Studios was completing Robots. The studio 20th Century Fox Animation president Chris Meledandri at the time asked Gazelle about getting adaptation rights for Warner's of Who. The art director for Robots, Steve Martino, along with story consultant and additional senior director Jimmy Howard, created a model of protagonist Horton with some animation tests to showcase the design ideas to Geisel. We eventually agreed on a 7-figure deal for both the book and its predecessor, Horton Hatches the Egg, which did not happen. Nico, Paul, and Ken Dario were then hired to write the script, to be directed by Howard and Martino with a set release date of 2008. Geisel was credited as a supervising producer and watched production up close, and also gave the directors full access to her late husband's archives, including his original sketches and 3D sculptures work done for the film The 5,000 Figures of Dr. T, and even Mamos. Dr. Seuss traded with Chuck Jones during the production of the Grinch TV special. References in doing the character animation, along with footage of the voice actors performing their lines, the Blue Sky animators recorded themselves performing the script in an acting room, to see what their body language could translate well into the film. And to make Horton different and look different compared to the Mouse Blue Sky worked on in the Ice Age films, he would at times be able to stand and walk upright on 2 legs, making him somewhat bipedal in a way that made him look like a fat man in an elephant suit. While the design had a major difference in the original book, with a bigger mouth to allow wider facial expressions like those of Jim Carrey, as the directors noticed Horton's design in their book varied according to his emotion. The 3D wireframe time allowed for the same effects. So after the film was shot and marketed, the film would be released theatrically on March 14, 2008 to generally positive reviews, and grossed $299 million on a budget, worldwide on a budget of $85 million. Horton Zoo was the third Dr. Seuss feature film adaptation, the first to be fully animated using CGI, the first and so far only adaptation to receive critical acclaim, and the second Dr. Seuss film starring Jim Carrey after The Grinch. Now for my reaction. Well, I only did like this at age 9. Yeah, at age 9. Only. At age 24, not really. First off, if some of you guys like this movie, I'm fine with that, but I personally don't now. I think it's horribly written, not memorable, not funny, kinda boring, and just overly overrated and forgettable. I would even rather watch the Lorax in 2007 2000 Grinch movie over this. This also has one of the most pathetic forced redemptions I have ever witnessed, but that part's going to be saved for later. This is obviously just a good movie for kids. It is well animated and pretty frantic, and also does a decent job at adapting the story. It expands Horton's story a bit, and expands the Whoville story a lot, but it feels like they want to stay close to the source material here. This just isn't always a good thing. Autumn. But there are a couple things that kept me from enjoying this. Like, first off, writers should never try and add their own rhymes to a Dr. Seuss story. Dido with Seuss feels so pedestrian and uninspired compared to the real thing. So if you can't find the story connectors if you want in his work, just don't rhyme. Simple. The bigger problem is that I don't find it very funny. A kid might, but it's silly genetic humor. There's not really enough in the film that one would class as genuinely funny. The bridge scene contains chuckles. Vlad the psychopathic vulture has its moments, but for the rest of the time, the film is quietly amusing rather than uproariously hilarious. Harry and Corell provide enjoyable voice work. Their enthusiastic real-life personalities, as we all know from their previous film work, natural flair enables them to make likable characters. Arnett is similarly effective as the mean horrid kangaroo, but the character is virtually fascist in attitude and very hard to like, even as a hissable villain. As noted already, the animation and polish are always pleasing to the eye, while the film appeals to the eye, has a far lesser impact on the brain, and the more messages, tolerance for all, the power of imagination, standing up for your beliefs, are all very worthy, but delivered here in an excessively heavy-handed and preachy manner. There is something oddly unappealing about the being preached at in any movie, and it feels undoubtedly uncalled for in a kid's film. Like, there's three main characters in this film. There's Horton, the mayor, and Kangaroo. The first two might as well be clones of one another, as they both trample around hurting themselves. The Kangaroo is this generic, for lack of a word, oppressive authority figure who in the end becomes somehow a good character, one of the worst excuses ever, so quickly after ages of fussing. Pathetically. Other characters pop in and out and so swiftly that their personalities are developed through entrances and exits, like face plants, racing behind bushes, floating away. Vlad the Vulture was kind of fine, until he hid by his wings like a melodramatic villain. Everyone moves as if caffeine is constantly flowing to their veins as they flare their arms about and scream. Slapstick humor is not Seuss at all. His humor is to put his ability into rhyme and create silly words with silly worlds and creatures thrown in, which is probably why I'm disappointed every time one of his books is turned to a film, except for The Grinch, the 2000 film. In comparison to modern sitcoms, slapstick comedy is the laugh track of this film. The peak was at the very end, as like Kangaroo was starting to plop Whoville into a boiling pot of muck. I was about to say, okay, it's not a bad idea for a children's film, actually trying to go a little serious. Especially kind of drawn into the tense situation of an entire world being destroyed for a G-rated flick. And then, of course, it gets ruined by the entire cast breaking out into fucking song and threw off the whole emotion of the whole moment. Yeah, in the end of the movie, the characters sing a fucking pop song at the end of the damn film. I hate that stupid cliche when characters break into music numbers for some random weird reason in animated films. It's not intriguing, it's not enjoyable, it's not satisfying, and it just ruins moments like this when the films aren't supposed to be musicals. Visualization of Dr. Seuss's graphics is astounding, eye-popping colors swirl and match your brain, and there's a short cartoon segment that emulates his drawings exactly. There's also this crazy, stupid yellow thing called Katie that should make dumb kids laugh and give smart kids nightmares. You have Seth Rogen voices this blue mouse in Morton that is so useless that you could literally remove him from the film and you wouldn't miss shit, because he doesn't do a thing the whole film, and he's so useless. You have Dan Fogler voicing a Who councilman that doesn't even play a useful role either. Basically it just exists to be the kangaroo of Whoville. A carbon copy that we didn't even need. And then you have Isla Fisher voicing this other Who named Dr. Mary Lou LaRue, who is hardly in the movie either, who hits on the film's best concept, the plurality of worlds, and how every speck of dust is a word unto itself. And then 4 times in as many movies, Blue Sky Studios proves itself a distant third when it comes to CGI filmmaking. Like the two Ice Age films before this, Orzu coasted on the big-name talent behind the mic, ignoring the clever styling and over-their-heads adult humor that have made Pixar, and to a lesser extent DreamWorks, so successful. Like, a kid would probably be entertained by this film for 9 minutes. But this is just nothing more than a cinematic cotton candy, empty calories and completely forgettable. The animation was fair, but nowhere near the quality or detail of Pixar pick. Like, But the real problem with Horton was the dialogue. It's just not funny. Perhaps the writers felt compelled to remain true to Seuss's original work, as it seemed to add very little originality and a whole lot of being filler. Now, I don't mind them adding Jim Carrey's shtick to Horton's personality, although I felt it would have been better if they didn't. So, because of that, it was sort of amusing to watch, although sometimes, but honestly, I kind of would have rather he just kept serious for this one, despite being one of the few best things of this film. COrleone also did a pretty decent job himself. In fact, I even feel like the two actors did such a good job working off each other that actually felt natural, and were actually the few best things of the film. Their chemistry was the few best things of this film. But as soon as those moments were gone, they get some of the good old pop culture references, like the stupid anime sequence that makes no sense, because how in the world does an elephant know what anime is? Like, with her television in the jungle of Newell background somewhere? Yeah, there is a fucking anime sequence in this. Which pissed me off, because no offense guys, but I really hate anime. Oh, and do you remember that cute little character Jojo? Well, in the beginning, like, he's voiced by a now faded away artist named Jesse McCartney, who isn't even around anymore. He only has about 3 or 4 lines in this movie, so the character Jojo was silent throughout most of the time. And as soon as that pop song scene came up, he has to sing a solo line. And that's when I begin to think that they only got him in so they could do this scene and just have a big name attached to their film. Oh, since he's a primarily known as a singer at the time this movie was released, they just wanted to throw him a bone and let him sing a little, but it doesn't even work. At all. It just made it even more worse. I even found Jojo to not even be a likable character at all, because he's silent all the time, and hardly contributes much till the damn end of the film. Honestly, now that I think about it, the only characters that really contribute shit in this film are Horton and the mayor. Almost everybody else does literally nothing the entire film, unless it's either try to destroy the spec or make Whoville hurt. And what's worse, people even say this movie's clean of innuendos. Yeah, right. Then how do most of you explain this one scene I'm about to describe, which is the most inappropriate moment in the film? And after Horton crosses a deadly bridge he almost died in, he has a smile on his face as if it's not even important. Then while he's walking, his legs start to move up and down, and he starts to twerk his ass in front of the screen with a smirk on his face, and even adding a sound effect in it. A wobbly sound comes in, and then he even says he found a new sense of purpose. What the fuck? Why were they thinking? It jumps closer to the screen, still twerking, followed by an instrumental version of the song Baby Got Back, and 2 seconds later, jumps more closer to the screen, still twerking with a happy expression on his face. 3 seconds later, jumps even closer to the screen. Who made that scene? Who would do it and why? Like, even Nostalgia Critic sums it up best in this clip.
You know, for a new sense of purpose, he sure does seem to do a lot of stuff with no purpose.
Yeah. Clean of innuendos. My ass. And now we have the villain of the film that will finally get to the forced redemption moment. The antagonist, the kangaroo, who's played by Carol Burnett. See, pretty much, how do I summarize this? Just a complete, generic Karen. She pouch schools her hapless son, and seeks to control the jungle, like she's narrow-minded, mean-spirited, stupid, arrogant, and ultimately favor destroying a tiny civilization. And his destructive behavior is clearly related to her narrow-minded hypocrisy. Her character is not worth sympathizing shit in the slightest, like the writers clearly must have thought. First off, when she meets Vlad's willing to take and eat her own kid in exchange for being able to destroy the spec, and she says she's even thinking it over. So basically, seemed willing to kill her child to get what she wanted. Many other scenes where she either just tells her own son to shut up, shoves him in her pouch. Even as she does so, how was this dumb bitch sympathetic and deserving of forgiveness? Things get even dumber as she rallies the jungle against Horton on a highly traveled pretext. And as soon as the spec is finally heard, she still tries to destroy it. After she just fucking heard it clearly, and like nobody's on her side, they basically glare at her to fuck off. And then she basically whimpers like a 5-year-old brat whenever a 5-year-old brat whimpers as soon as they're about to get disciplined for their bad behavior. And shown sulking in distance because she lost everyone's respect, rightfully so. However, is there a punishment for her? No. What does she get instead? She gets easily forgiven and redeemed. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care if that's how the book goes. You sulking me because you suddenly got exposed and suddenly feel bad for your deeds does not excuse you for being an abusive piece of shit genocidal parent that only cares for attention and sucks ass at being a leader who still tried to destroy that small town after she freaking heard it. So yeah, that's another reason I hate the damn film. Just think about this, guys. That's like if, oh hey, Batman easily forgave the guy who shot his parents and decided to... Or if maybe you decide to spare and forgive a crook that maybe either sexually assaulted a girlfriend you had, or in an alley one night, or probably robbed and shot your family in front of your face for no reason whatsoever, just to loot your house, and probably even nearly killed or injured you. That's how it pretty much... That's what this is probably like. And apparently the writers were like, Dr. Seuss isn't a revenge person. Did half you writers not read the Hatches the Egg book? The bird that left him with the egg got punished for being lazy by not getting her own kid and getting nothing for abandoning her artwork. So, actually, Dr. Seuss did punish some villains. So yeah, I cannot accept this redemption in any way possible. And if these guys clearly think that Dr. Seuss wasn't a Compound's person and didn't read the Hatches the Egg adaptation, you want to know what makes these filmmakers? Idiot hypocrites! Yeah, clearly, idiot hypocrites. But, for the good qualities, just Carrie Carell's voice acting, the animation is fine, and that's about it. I don't have anything else to say, guys. This is just not my kind of film to review or rant on, and I would rather watch the 2000 Grinch over this any day. People say the 2000 Grinch sucked ass. Even the 2000 Grinch didn't end with them breaking out into a pop song and stuff. And had more memorable moments. What was memorable about this? I could go on, but in the end, Horton Zoo is just an overrated adaptation that isn't even worth the watch regardless. That's pretty much going to be it for this rant. If you're wondering how I'm going to rank Horton Zoo, here's how I'm obviously probably going to rank this movie. So overall, even if you are a Seuss fan, then I'm sorry, but this is not even worth checking out in my opinion. So you're better off just avoiding this movie. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Horton Zoo, I'm going to give Horton Zoo a 5 out of 10. There we go. That pretty much wraps up this whole rant for Horton Zoo. And yeah. Thankfully, I'm gonna review a good film next. So, be sure to stay tuned for that, whatever I think of. But, until then, guys, that will be it for this rant. Thank y'all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.